My family called my daughter Family Disgraces. They didn't know I owned everything. My name is Fiona Mercer. I am 35 years old, a night shift nurse, and mother to my 10-year-old daughter Lily. Last Thanksgiving, my family pinned a handwritten sign on Lily's chest that read Family Disgrace. 20 people at that dinner table saw it happen. My hands shook as I looked around the room. Relatives whispering, cousins staring. My daughter frozen in complete shock. My father leaned back in his chair and said, "You are living on Mercer land. Don't forget who made that possible." What they didn't know was that I had legal ownership of the house they claimed as theirs. I had proof of every single dollar they had tried to steal from Lily's college fund. And I had documented everything. Before I tell you exactly how I handled this, hit subscribe if family drama has ever left you absolutely furious. Let me take you back to how it all began. I need you to understand something about my family. The Mercers have always been about appearances, perfect holidays, perfect photos, perfect lies. I learned early that I didn't fit their definition of perfect. I was 8 years old at my first piano recital. I had practiced for 3 months straight. My teacher said I had real talent. I remember standing backstage in my white dress, scanning the audience for my parents. They never showed up. Later that night, I found out they had gone to my cousin Stephanie's birthday party instead. When I asked why, my mother just shrugged and said, "Stephanie's events are more important, sweetie. You understand." I didn't understand, but I learned to stop asking. I kept that piano ribbon in my drawer for years. Along with the baby photo of Lily, they would stuck in a corner frame, like an afterthought. Fast forward to when I was 15. I had earned my first merit scholarship. Full ride to nursing school. I was so proud. I thought maybe this time they would see me. My father barely looked up from his newspaper. "Your sister Emily is our pride. Try not to embarrass us at the ceremony." That scholarship certificate ended up tucked in the same drawer as the piano ribbon. The pattern was clear. Emily got the praise. Emily got the attention. Emily got everything. I got really good at being invisible. Then I met David. He was kind. He was patient. He saw me when my own family didn't. We got married when I was 24. Lily came along 2 years later. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had my own family. One that actually wanted me. David died when Lily was 3. Car accident. No warning. And that is when my family's true nature revealed itself. The day after his funeral, my father showed up at my door with papers. "We need to discuss the house," he said. "David bought it with Mercer family assistance. We have certain expectations." I was numb with grief. I just nodded. What I didn't know then was that David had been meticulous. He had left everything in my name, clean title. No co-signers. But my family had somehow convinced themselves they had a claim. My father leaned in close that day and said, "Without the Mercer family, you would be nothing." I remember feeling so small, so powerless. But I wasn't powerless. I just didn't know it yet. I started keeping records. Every conversation, every demand, every slight. When my family suggested I was mismanaging Lily's education fund, I made copies of all the statements. When they implied I owed them rent for their house, I pulled out the deed. I didn't confront them. Not then. I just quietly documented everything. Looking back now, I can see the pattern so clearly. They had spent my entire life training me to accept less, to stay quiet, to be grateful for scraps. They rewarded Emily for being their perfect daughter. They rewarded my brother Michael for carrying on the Mercer name. I was the night shift nurse with the dead husband and the weird kid. That is how they saw me. What they didn't see was that I had been learning, watching, preparing. Every piano recital they missed taught me I couldn't depend on them. Every scholarship they dismissed taught me I was stronger than they thought. Every time they tried to claim what was mine, I made a note. I developed this quiet resilience. Some people might call it stubborn. I call it survival. And I was about to need every ounce of it, because Lily was growing up. And my family was starting to treat her exactly the way they had treated me. The comments started small. "Lily's a bit odd, isn't she? Does she always talk so much about books? You should really encourage her to be more normal, my mother once said. You are raising her to be as difficult as you were. I smiled. I nodded. And I wrote it all down. What my family didn't understand was that every insult they threw at my daughter made me more determined. Not to fight back loudly, but to build something they couldn't touch. I worked double shifts. I maxed out Lily's 529 account, $72,000 over 7 years. I consulted with an attorney about the house deed, just to be sure. I kept spreadsheets of every family dinner, every comment, every demand. My partner James would sometimes ask me, "Why do you let them treat you this way?" I would say, "I am not letting them do anything. I am watching them reveal who they really are." He didn't fully understand. Not yet, but he would. They all would. By the time Lily turned 10, I had a file cabinet full of evidence, bank statements, legal documents, photos, recordings of voicemails. My family thought I was weak, dependent, grateful to be allowed in their presence. They thought I needed them. They were so wrong. And last Thanksgiving, they pushed me past the point of quiet documentation. They humiliated my daughter in front of 20 people. And that changed everything. Let me be very clear about what was at risk. Financially, my family had attempted to access Lily's 529 account, $72,000 that I had saved from every night shift, every overtime hour, every birthday and Christmas gift. They had convinced themselves they were entitled to it. My mother had actually said to me that money was earned while you lived under Mercer support. Technically, we have a claim. Technically, they had nothing, but they were pushing. The house was another issue entirely. After David died, my father had somehow filed a fraudulent homestead exemption. He had claimed the property as part of the Mercer estate holdings. I only found out about it 3 years later when I tried to refinance. The paperwork was a mess. It took months and thousands in legal fees to untangle. I had the original deed. I had David's will. I had proof that every mortgage payment had come from my account. But my family kept pushing the narrative that they had helped us buy it, that I owed them. The truth was simple. David and I had bought that house with a VA loan. No family money involved. But the Mercers had rewritten history so many times that even I started questioning my own memory. That is what gaslighting does. It makes you doubt what you know is true. So I gathered evidence. Bank statements going back 8 years. The original purchase documents from 2010. Every single receipt. I showed it to my attorney. She looked at me and said, "Fiona, this is open and shut. They have no claim whatsoever." But the emotional cost was heavier than the financial one. Every family dinner was a minefield. Every comment about Lily chipped away at my daughter's confidence. I worked night shifts to avoid them. I made excuses not to attend events. I tried to protect Lily from their judgment. It wasn't enough. Lily started coming home from family gatherings quieter. Withdrawn one night, after a Sunday dinner at the Mercer house, she asked me, "Mom, why does Grandma say I am the odd one?" I felt my heart break. I hugged her and said, "You are not odd, baby. You are extraordinary." But the damage was being done, and I knew it. The cost of staying silent was becoming unbearable. I was losing sleep. I was exhausted from double shifts and emotional labor. I was watching my daughter internalize the same messages I had internalized as a child. That she wasn't good enough, that she was a burden, that she should be grateful just to be tolerated. And I realized something. I couldn't let them do to Lily what they had done to me. The breaking point came when I overheard my father talking to my brother Michael at Emily's birthday party. "Fiona and that strange kid of hers," he said, "living in our house, using our name. She should show more gratitude." Michael laughed. "Maybe we should charge her rent." They were joking. But the cruelty was real. I stood in the hallway, invisible as always, and I made a decision. I couldn't stop them from being who they were, but I could stop giving them power over my life. I called my attorney the next morning. "I need to take action," I said, "legal and public." "Can you help me?" she said. "I have been waiting for you to ask." I had no idea that the next Thanksgiving would change everything. But I was about to find out just how far the Mercers would go to maintain their illusion of control. Thanksgiving 2025, 6:30 p.m. The Mercer family estate dining room. Grand mahogany table, crystal chandelier, polished silverware that cost more than my monthly mortgage. 23 relatives gathered. Cousins, aunts, uncles. Emily and her perfect husband. Michael and his perfect children. And Lily, my 10-year-old daughter, wearing the blue dress I had bought her for the occasion. I should have known something was wrong when my mother greeted us at the door with that smile. The one that doesn't reach her eyes. Fiona, darling. So glad you could make it, like I had a choice. We walked into the dining room and I felt it immediately, the whispers, the looks. Emily was smirking. Michael wouldn't meet my eyes. My father sat at the head of the table like a king on a throne. He gestured to our seats. Come, come. Let's not delay dinner. Lily sat down next to me. I reached for her hand under the table. That is when I saw it. Someone had pinned a piece of paper to the back of Lily's dress, handwritten in black marker. Family disgrace. My vision blurred. My hands started shaking. Lily didn't know. She couldn't see it. But everyone else could. Cousins were nudging each other. An aunt covered her mouth. Someone giggled. I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the floor. Lily, come with me. My voice came out steady. I don't know how. My father's voice boomed across the table. Sit down, Fiona, don't make a scene. I ignored him. I gently removed the sign from Lily's back and crumpled it in my fist. Lily looked up at me confused. Mom, what is wrong? Nothing. Baby, let me just fix your dress. I smoothed down the fabric where the pin had been. My hands were still shaking, but I kept my face calm, for Lily's sake. Then I turned to face the table. 23 people staring at me. Some embarrassed, some amused. Most just uncomfortable. My mother spoke first. Oh, Fiona, it was just a little joke. Don't be so sensitive. A joke. They had humiliated my 10-year-old daughter in front of the entire family, and called it a joke. I pulled out my phone, took a photo of the crumpled sign in my hand, then took a photo of the room, the table, the faces. My father leaned forward. What do you think you are doing? I looked him straight in the eye, documenting, like I always do. You are overreacting, Emily said. It was meant to be funny. Funny, I repeated. You think labeling a child is funny? Michael shifted in his seat. Come on, Fiona. We all know Lily's a bit different. We are just acknowledging it. The room went completely silent. I could have screamed. I could have cried. I could have thrown that crystal stemware across the room. Instead, I took a breath. I pulled out Lily's chair. We are leaving. My father stood up. You are living on Mercer land, Fiona. Don't forget who made that possible. There it was. The threat. The reminder of my place. I turned back to look at him, at all of them. And I said, very quietly, yes. Let's talk about that land. And the house. And exactly who owns what. My mother's face went pale. What are you talking about? I am talking about keeping every record of your actions, every claim you have made, every dollar you have tried to take. I picked up Lily's coat, and I am making sure history is accurate. Emily laughed, nervously. Don't be dramatic, Fiona. I am not being dramatic, I said. I am being thorough. I took Lily's hand and we walked out. Behind us, I heard the whispers start, confused, uncertain. Good. Let them wonder. In the car, Lily was quiet. Then she said, Mom, what did the sign say? I could have lied, protected her from the truth. But I had learned that protection isn't the same as preparation. It said something unkind, baby. Something that says more about them than it does about you. Are they mean people? I thought about that. They are people who have never had to face consequences. But that is going to change. What are you going to do? I looked at my daughter in the rearview mirror. Her blue dress, her confused eyes, her absolute trust in me. And I made a promise. I am going to make sure this never happens to you again. What I did next would surprise everyone, including my own family. That night, after I put Lily to bed, I sat in my home office and opened the filing cabinet. 7 years of documentation. It started the day David died, when my attorney pulled me aside at the funeral and said, "Fiona, I need you to keep everything. Every paper, every email, every conversation. Your family is going to test you." I thought she was being paranoid. She wasn't. The quitclaim deed was in the first folder. David had transferred the house entirely into my name 6 months before he died. He had known something might happen to him. His job was dangerous. He had left me a note with the deed. Just 3 sentences. "This is yours. Don't let anyone tell you different. Protect our girl." I had cried when I read it. Then I had locked it in the safe. My family assumed I was dependent on them, that I needed their approval, their support, their permission to exist. They had no idea what I actually owned. The house free and clear, market value $400,000. The 529 account $72,000 and growing. A separate investment account David had set up. Another $30,000 plus evidence of every fraudulent claim my family had made. The homestead exemption filing. The forged signatures on financial documents. The emails where my father discussed managing Fiona's assets. Assets he had absolutely no legal right to touch. I would also been recording conversations, not for court necessarily, but for clarity. My attorney had helped me set up a system. Cloud storage, encrypted files, copies stored off-site. She had said, "They think you are weak. That is your advantage. People underestimate the quiet ones." I had smiled at that. I am not weak. I am patient. Exactly. Now, sitting in my office with that crumpled family disgrace sign on my desk, I knew the time for patience was ending. James came in with tea. He had been my partner for 2 years now, steady, supportive. He would never once questioned why I kept such detailed records. "You okay?" he asked. "I am done being okay," I said. "I am ready to be free." He sat down across from me. "What do you need?" "A witness, and maybe a notary." He smiled. "I think we can arrange that." They thought I had nothing. Soon, they had learned the truth, and they had never see it coming. The Monday after Thanksgiving, I called my attorney. Rebecca had been handling my affairs since David died. She was sharp, thorough, and she didn't tolerate nonsense. "I need to take action," I told her. "Both legal and public." There was a pause. Then, "It is about time." "What happened?" I told her about the sign, the dinner. My father's threats. Rebecca's voice went cold. "That is emotional abuse of a minor. In front of witnesses." 23 witnesses, I said. "I have photos." "Good. Send them to me. We are going to need everything." Over the next 3 weeks, Rebecca and I built an airtight case. First, the house. We compiled every document proving sole ownership, the original purchase agreement, David's will, the quitclaim deed, every mortgage statement with my name as sole borrower. Then we found the fraudulent homestead exemption my father had filed. Rebecca was furious. "This is forgery. He signed your name on a legal document. Can we prove it? Your signature is notarized on the real deed. This one isn't different handwriting, different date." He tried to backdate it. What does that mean for him? It means he committed fraud. Potentially a felony. My hands were shaking as she said it. Not from fear, from something else. Relief, maybe. That I wasn't crazy. That I had been right. All along. Next, the 529 account. My mother had made several attempts to access it. She had called the bank claiming to be the account custodian. She would send emails requesting distribution for family educational purposes. The bank had denied every request and forwarded them to me. Rebecca reviewed the emails. "This is attempted theft. She is trying to steal from your daughter's college fund. Can we stop her? We can do better than that. We can press charges." I thought about that. Criminal charges against my own mother? James was there for this meeting. He reached over and squeezed my hand. "What do you want to do, Fiona?" Rebecca asked. "This is your decision." I thought about Lily, about the sign, about every dismissive comment and casual cruelty. "I want consequences," I said. "Real ones." "Okay, Then we move forward. The third piece was the most important. Documentation of the pattern of abuse. I showed Rebecca everything. 7 years of emails, text messages, voicemails, comments made at family gatherings, witnesses who had seen the treatment, the piano recital they had missed, the scholarship they had dismissed, the funeral where they had discussed property instead of grief. And now, the sign. The public humiliation of a child. Rebecca spread it all out on her conference table and said, "This is overwhelming evidence of financial exploitation and emotional abuse. What can we do with it? We can file for a restraining order if needed. We can sue for the attempted fraud. And we can make sure every single person in your family knows exactly what they have done." Public exposure, I said, if that is what you want. I thought about my family's obsession with appearances, their perfect image, their Mercer family reputation. Yes, I said. That is what I want. We planned it carefully. Christmas was 3 weeks away. The family always held a big dinner on Christmas Eve. Formal event, extended family, usually 30 people or more. They would expect me to come, to fall back in line, to pretend Thanksgiving never happened. Rebecca smiled. So we give them a Christmas gift they will never forget. We prepared packets for each family member, clear plastic folders with printed documentation, the deed proving I owned the house, the bank statements showing the 529 account, the fraudulent homestead exemption with my father's forged signature highlighted, email printouts of my mother's attempted theft, and photos, the sign, Lily's face, the witnesses who had watched and said nothing. Every packet ended with a letter from Rebecca's law firm. Cease and desist. No contact with minor child without supervision. Threat of legal action for continued harassment. James helped me assemble them. 32 packets total. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. I thought about 8-year-old me, waiting for parents who never showed up. I thought about 15-year-old me, hiding a scholarship certificate in a drawer. I thought about 28-year-old me, being told I was nothing without the Mercer name. And I thought about Lily, 10 years old, wearing a sign she didn't deserve. "I am completely sure," I said. Rebecca had one more question. "Do you want to give them a chance to apologize first? To make this right quietly?" I almost laughed. They have had 35 years to make things right. They called my daughter a disgrace. Fair enough. We set the date. Christmas Eve. 6 p.m. I would walk into that dinner with evidence, witnesses, and the truth, and I would watch their perfect world crumble. Christmas Eve. The Mercer estate was decorated like a magazine spread. White lights garland, a 12-foot tree in the entrance hall. 32 family members gathered in the formal dining room. Fine china, crystal glasses. The illusion of perfection. I arrived at 6:15, fashionably late. James was with me. Lily was at a friend's house, safe. I carried a leather portfolio inside, where 32 packets printed organized. "Ready?" My mother greeted us at the door. "Fiona, I wasn't sure you would come. Wouldn't miss it," I said. She looked uncertain. "Good." We entered the dining room and I felt every eye turn toward us. My father at the head of the table. Emily beside him. Michael and his wife. Cousins, aunts, uncles. Everyone who had witnessed Thanksgiving. Everyone who had said nothing. My father gestured to 2 empty seats. "Please, join us." I remained standing. "Actually, I have something to share first. A Christmas gift for the family." My mother's smile faltered. "Fiona, this isn't the time, it is exactly the time," I said. I opened the portfolio and began distributing packets. 1 to my father, 1 to my mother, 1 to Emily, 1 to Michael. Around the table until everyone had one. Confused faces, nervous glances. "What is this?" my father demanded. "Documentation," I said calmly. I thought it was time we all had the same information. Emily opened hers first. Her face went white. "This is the deed to your house," I said, looking at my father. "The house you claimed I was living in by Mercer family Grace. You will notice it is in my name solely, purchased with a VA loan. No family money involved." My father's jaw clenched. That is not. Page 2 shows the quitclaim deed from my late husband, dated 8 years ago. Notarized legal. I watched him flip through the pages. Page 3 is interesting, I continued. That is the fraudulent homestead exemption you filed in 2019. The one where you forged my signature. The room went completely silent. You can see the differences in signature, I said. My attorney has already filed a report with the county. My mother stood up. This is ridiculous. You cannot. Page 4, I said, turning to her. Those are printouts of your emails to the 529 account bank, attempting to access $72,000 in my daughter's college fund. The bank flagged them as fraudulent. Her mouth opened. No words came out. Page 5 details every attempt to access, redirect, or claim those funds over the past 3 years. Michael spoke up. Fiona. This is a family dinner. Cannot we discuss this privately? I looked at him. Like you discussed charging me rent, privately, at Emily's birthday party? He had the grace to look ashamed. The rest of the packet, I continued, documents 7 years of financial manipulation, emotional abuse, and systematic attempts to control my assets and my life. I turned to face the entire table. The final page is a letter from my attorney. Cease and desist. No unsupervised contact with my daughter, and notice of potential legal action for fraud, forgery, and attempted theft. My father found his voice. You cannot do this. We are family. Family, I repeated. You pinned a sign on my daughter that said, Family Disgrace in front of 23 people. Gasps around the table. Some people looked genuinely shocked. You didn't know about that? I asked them. Page 7. There is a photo. More packets being opened, more horrified faces. Emily tried to defend. It was just a joke. It was public humiliation of a child, I said. There are witnesses. An aunt spoke up. I saw it. I thought it was horrible. But I didn't want to cause problems. Exactly, I said. Everyone saw. No one said anything. That is complicity. My mother was crying now. You are tearing this family apart. No, I said quietly. I am showing you what this family already is. James stepped beside me, quiet support. My father stood up, red-faced. This is my house. My family. You cannot just. I am not in your house, I said. I am in the house you tried to steal from me, and I have 32 witnesses to your reaction. He deflated. Saturday back down. Someone in the back asked, What do you want, Fiona? I looked around the room, at faces I had known my whole life. People who had watched me be diminished, dismissed, discarded. I want acknowledgement, I said. I want you to see what you have done. Not just to me, to Lily. Silence. I want you to understand that I don't need the Mercer name. I don't need Mercer money. I don't need your approval. I picked up my empty portfolio. I want you to know that I have protected myself and my daughter, and if you ever try to hurt us again, this documentation goes to the county prosecutor. My father's voice was small. You would really do that to your own family? I thought about 8-year-old me, waiting for parents who never came. You did it first, I said. Every single time you chose someone else. Every time you called me a burden. Every time you tried to control what was mine. I turned to leave. My mother called out. Wait, cannot we fix this? I paused at the doorway. Forgiveness isn't a reset button, I said. You cannot unsay what you have said. You cannot undo what you have done. Then what do we do? Emily asked. She sounded genuinely lost. You read those packets, I said. You sit with what you have done, and you decide if you want to be better. And if we do, my father asked. Then maybe, I said in time, with real change and real accountability, maybe we can talk, but not now. I looked at James, he nodded. We walked out together. Behind us, I heard someone start to cry. Someone else asking questions. The perfect Mercer Christmas. Shattered. In the car, James squeezed my hand. How do you feel? I thought about it. Free, I said finally. I feel free. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Please call me. I turned off my phone. They had had 35 years to call me, to see me, to choose me. Now it was my turn to choose, and I chose peace. The next morning, my phone had 47 missed calls. My mother, my father, Emily, Michael, aunts, uncles, cousins. I hadn't heard from in years. I listened to exactly one voicemail. My mother's voice, shaking. "Fiona, please. We need to talk about this. You have misunderstood everything. We can fix this. Call me back." I deleted it. Rebecca called at 9 a.m. "How did it go?" "Exactly as planned," I said. "Any threats, any attempts to intimidate? Just a lot of desperate voicemails. Don't respond to any of them. Let them sit with it. I intend to." By noon, my father had sent an email. Subject line: family discussion. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. "Fiona, what you did last night was inappropriate and hurtful. You have embarrassed the family with false accusations and legal threats. We demand you retract everything and apologize. We are willing to forgive this outburst if you come to your senses. Respond by end of day." I forwarded it to Rebecca. She called back immediately. "This is gold. He is not denying anything. He is just demanding you back down." Should I respond? Absolutely not. Silence is power here. At 3 p.m., my mother tried a different approach. A text message. "I am sorry about the sign. It was wrong. Can we please talk?" Better, but not enough. I showed it to James. "What do you think?" "I think it is the bare minimum," he said. "And you deserve more." He was right. I typed back, "I appreciate the apology. When you are ready to discuss real accountability, including financial restitution and a written acknowledgement of harm, we can talk." Not before. Her response came fast. "Financial restitution? What are you talking about?" I sent back a number: $72,000. The amount in Lily's 529 that you attempted to access, plus legal fees. 15,000 total. 87,000. Three dots appeared. Then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally. "That is ridiculous." I didn't respond that evening. Emily called. I let it go to voicemail. "Fiona, it is me. Look, I think what happened at Thanksgiving was wrong, but what you did at Christmas was worse. You have ruined the family. Mom is devastated. Dad is talking about lawyers. Michael will not even discuss it. You need to fix this." I saved the voicemail. More evidence. The next day, my brother Michael sent a text. "Can we meet? Just you and me coffee." I thought about it. Michael had always been the neutral one. Never cruel, but never protective either. I agreed. Public coffee shop, daytime. James would be nearby. We met at a Starbucks on Wednesday morning. Michael looked tired. "Thanks for coming." "What do you want, Michael?" "I want to understand," he said. "Why now? Why like this?" I pulled out my phone and showed him the photo. The sign on Lily's back. He stared at it for a long time. "I didn't know," he said finally. "Yes, you did. You were there. I mean, I didn't think about it, how it would affect her." "That is the problem," I said. "None of you think about it." He ran his hands through his hair. "What do you want from us?" "I don't want anything from you," I said. "I want you to leave us alone. I want you to stop assuming you have any right to my life, my house, or my daughter. And if we apologize, really apologize, then maybe, eventually we can rebuild something, but not before you actually understand what you have done." He nodded slowly. "Fair enough." As I left, he called out, "Fiona, for what it is worth. I am sorry I didn't say anything." I turned back. "Then say something now. To them I will." We would see. The boundaries were set, the lines were drawn. Now came the hard part, holding them. 3 months later, the immediate aftermath had been messy. Angry phone calls, attempted guilt trips, flying monkeys in the form of well-meaning cousins who didn't know the full story. I held firm. Rebecca filed the formal complaint about the fraudulent homestead exemption. The county investigated. My father received a formal warning and had to pay a fine. $3,000. Not enough to hurt him financially, but enough to hurt his pride. The local property records were corrected. My name only. No Mercer family claim. My mother's attempts to access the 529 account were documented with the bank. They put additional security measures in place. Password required, voice verification, security questions only I could answer. Emily tried to apologize via a long email. It started well. I am sorry for the sign, that was cruel. But then it devolved into justifications. But you have to understand. We were all stressed. And Lily is difficult sometimes. And you have always been so sensitive. I didn't respond. Real apologies don't come with, but the most unexpected response came from my Aunt Caroline, my mother's younger sister. She showed up at my house one evening, unannounced. I almost didn't let her in. I am not here to defend them, she said through the door. I have something to tell you. It is important. I opened the door cautiously. Caroline came in and sat on my couch. She looked nervous. I saw what you did at Christmas, she said. The packets, the evidence. And I should have done the same thing 20 years ago. I sat down across from her. She continued. Your mother did the same thing to me. The dismissal, the financial control, the emotional manipulation. I accepted it. I thought that was normal. What changed? I asked. Watching you refuse to accept it, she said. Watching you protect Lily. She pulled out a folder, handed it to me. Inside were documents. Old financial records, emails, letters. This is proof of what your mother did to me, Caroline said. I want you to have it, in case you ever need more evidence of the pattern. I looked through the papers. It was striking, almost identical to my experience. Attempts to control money, dismissive comments, gaslighting about family history. Why are you giving me this? I asked. Because you are the first person who stood up to her, Caroline said. And I want you to know you are not alone. You are not crazy. This is real. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thank you. No, she said. Thank you. After she left, I added her documents to my files. The pattern was undeniable. 6 months after Christmas, my father had a health scare. Heart palpitations, emergency room visit. Emily called me, Dad's in the hospital. You should come. Is he in danger? Number. But he is asking for you. I thought about it, talked it through with James. You don't owe him a hospital visit, James said. But if you want closure, this might be the time. I went. Alone. My father was in a hospital bed, hooked up to monitors. He looked old, smaller than I remembered. He saw me and his face did something complicated. Relief, shame, defiance. You came, he said. I came, I agreed. We sat in silence for a moment. Then he said, Your mother thinks I should apologize. Do you think you should apologize? Another long pause. I don't know what I did that was so wrong, he said finally. I gave you a home. I gave you a family name. I tried to help. And there it was. He genuinely didn't see it. You tried to steal my house, I said quietly. You tried to access my daughter's college fund. You let your wife put a sign on a child. That was different. It wasn't different, I interrupted. It was exactly the same as everything you have always done. You decided what was yours. And you took it. He looked away. I am not here to argue, I said. I am here because Emily called. But I am not here to forgive you either. Not yet. What do you want from me? I want you to actually see what you did. Not justify it, not explain it. See it. And if I do, then maybe we can start over slowly. With boundaries, he nodded. Slowly. I left after 10 minutes. It wasn't reconciliation, but it was something 1 year after Christmas. Lily's 11 now, thriving in school. She is in the robotics club and the debate team. She asked me once, why don't we see Grandma and Grandpa anymore? I told her the truth. Age-appropriate version. They made some choices that hurt us, and we needed space to heal. Are you still mad at them? I am not mad, I said. I am protective, of you and me, that makes sense. She went back to her homework. Kids are resilient, especially when they are protected. I hosted a small Thanksgiving at our house this year, James, his sister, a few friends, Aunt Caroline. 10 people around my table. People who chose to be there. People who saw me. It was the best Thanksgiving I had ever had. My mother sent a card. It arrived 2 days before the holiday. Inside was a check. $15,000. And a note. For the legal fees. I am sorry it took me so long to understand. Can we talk? I showed it to Rebecca. Well, she said. That is progress. Is it enough? Only you can answer that. I deposited the check. I wasn't going to refuse restitution, but I didn't call her back. Not yet. James asked me. Do you think you will ever forgive them? I don't know, I said. Honestly, forgiveness feels like it should be earned, and I am not sure they have earned it yet. That is fair. But I am not angry anymore, I added. I am just free, and I was free to make my own choices, free to protect my daughter, free to build a life without their approval. The Mercer name didn't define me. The house was mine, the money was protected, Lily was safe. Emily reached out again recently. Different tone this time. I have been in therapy, she wrote. Talking about family patterns. I am starting to see things I didn't see before. I am sorry, Fiona. Really sorry. Not for one thing. For everything. Better, I wrote back. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am not ready to rebuild yet. But I am not close to it forever, she responded. I understand. Take all the time you need. Michael sent a Christmas card this year. Photo of his kids, a handwritten note. I talked to Dad about really apologizing. He is working on it. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I wanted you to know someone is trying. Small steps. Tiny movements toward accountability. I don't know if it will ever be enough, but I know I am okay either way, because I have built something they cannot touch. A life, a home, a future for Lily. The girl they called a disgrace is thriving, and the woman they tried to control is finally free. That is the real payoff. Not revenge, not even justice, really. Just peace. The quiet power of knowing I protected what matters. And that is worth more than any apology could ever be. Present day, Lily's room is covered in robotics awards and debate trophies, photos of her friends, art projects. Our apartment is small, but it is ours. No Mercer portraits on the walls. No pressure to maintain appearances. Just us, our life. James proposed last month. I said yes, not because I needed him, but because I wanted to build something with him. There is a difference. I still work night shifts at the hospital, but I have cut back to 3 days a week. I am taking online courses, thinking about administration, building a future on my own terms. Lily asked me something profound the other day. Mom, do you think Grandma and Grandpa will ever change? I thought about it carefully. I think people can change, I said, but only if they want to, and only if they do the work. Have they done the work? Some of it. Not all of it. Do you think you will ever let them come to our house? Maybe, I said, with boundaries and supervision, and consequences if they break the rules. She nodded. That seems fair. Out of the mouths of 11-year-olds, I have learned a lot this past year. I learned that family doesn't have to define your worth. I learned that documentation is power. I learned that quiet strength is more effective than loud anger. I learned that protecting your child is worth any amount of family drama. And I learned that freedom isn't about cutting people off forever. It is about having the power to choose. Choose who gets access to your life. Choose what behaviors you will tolerate. Choose when to extend grace and when to hold firm. The Mercers don't control me anymore. Not financially. Not emotionally. Not at all. My father sends occasional emails now. Short ones. Hope you are well. Thinking of Lily on her birthday. Would like to talk when you are ready. Different tone. Less demanding. I respond sometimes brief. Polite, boundaried. We are not reconciled. But we are not at war either. It is a strange middle ground. My mother is in therapy, Emily told me. She is actually working on it, Emily said last time we talked. Not just saying she is actually going, actually trying. Good, I said. And I meant it, not for me. For her. People deserve the chance to be better. But that doesn't mean I have to be the testing ground. Rebecca closed my case last month. No activity for 6 months. I think you are in the clear. What if they try something again? Then we reopen it, but I don't think they will. You made your point. I made my point, and more importantly, I protected my daughter. Lily doesn't have a sign on her back anymore. She has confidence, pride, a sense of her own worth. She knows she is not a disgrace. She knows she is extraordinary, and if anyone ever tries to tell her different, she knows she has a mother who will move mountains to protect her. That is the legacy I am building. Not Mercer money, not Mercer name. Just fierce, quiet, unshakable love. If your family has ever tried to diminish you, here is what I want you to know. You don't have to accept their version of your story. You have the right to protect yourself and your children. You have the right to set boundaries, demand accountability, and walk away if necessary. Documentation is power, evidence is protection, and quiet strength can move mountains. I don't live under the Mercer shadow anymore, and neither should you live under anyone's shadow who tries to make you small. You are not a disgrace, you are not a burden, you are not too sensitive, you are strong enough to choose freedom. Have you ever had to defend your child against family shame? Drop a comment below. I would love to hear your story, and subscribe for more real stories of finding strength when you need it most. This is Fiona Mercer, reminding you that you own your own story, and no one can take that away.